yesterday was our first tour day. We got up early, as usual, went and ate breakfast, and we got picked up by the tour guide a little after 8 o'clock. It was a private tour, so it was just Weston and I with a tour guide and a driver. And the first place that they took us was to a place called Tanah Lot, and that's the only temple name that I can pronounce. So, we started there. That was on like the ocean side. Well, all sides are surrounded by ocean, obviously, but it was a temple that was off the coast that we couldn't gain access to, but we could stand at an overlook point and look at and take pictures at. So.
After that, it took us about an hour to get to that temple. Then after we left there, it took us about another 30 minutes to an hour to get to the next temple, which was a traditional Hindu temple. I don't really remember the name of it.
Yeah, the names are very hard to pronounce, and we saw so many temples that
it's really hard to keep up with what we saw and all that kind of stuff. I do know that we learned a whole bunch about the rocks and the way that they made the temples and the stones they used and all that kind of stuff. Apparently, if it was a black stone, it was actually made from the lava rock. So that was pretty cool. Whenever the Hindu people and the ancient Balinese people would recycle the lava rock to make the temples, and they would always put the temples in the most beautiful places because they felt like that was the most holy places on the island, and so they could feel closer to God as they prayed and worshiped and things like that. And now also the island of Bali is known as, it has two different names. It's the island of 1,000 temples, which if you go through every town has their own big temples and things like that. And then also, if you go and you're riding by all throughout the town, you notice that every household also has its own temple. So if they count just the temples in the town, it's the island of 1,000 temples, but really the amount of temples in Bali is in the millions. And then the other name for Bali is the island of gods, because there are so many gods that are worshipped here and things like that. They also have Catholics, churches, and then they have Buddhist temples and also Hindu temples.
Yeah, and they had a mosque for the Muslims, but the main religion in Bali and in Indonesia, I believe, is Hinduism.
Yes. Also, another fun fact that we learned here is that cockfighting is part of a religious, trying to think of the word here. Maybe you can help me out, babe. It's part of a religious ceremony.
Right.
And there is no gambling at these things and things like that. It's very different from the cockfighting
That's illegal.
that's illegal
in America.
in America. After that, I think we went to a coffee bean farm, which was crazy because you would never have known this place was here unless like you were taken there. And so we got there. It was literally like a little alleyway. We didn't know what we was doing or anything like that. And then they took us through, and it was crazy. And then we got to go through, and they taught us about the coffee beans, and then the Luwak.
Yeah.
The
So
Luwak.
it's this little place off the side of the road. Our tour guide took us there because he obviously knew about it. We walked down into their own little piece of the forest. They showed us the different coffee beans that they grew, the cacao beans that they grew, plus the different types of like spices. So we got to see ginger, we saw turmeric, and then after we went through that part, we got to see the Luwak animal, which kind of looks like a lemur, if I were to describe it, looking like something. And so a specialty in Bali is Luwak coffee. And what that is this animal consumes the coffee beans, it ferments in their stomach, and when they expel it, the locals pick it up, they clean it really well, they get the coffee bean out of the shell, roast it, and then they grind it, and then they brew it, and it's some of the most expensive coffee in the world, which we did get to try it.
Yeah.
After we saw the process, we got to sit down and try different teas and coffees.
Right, which I'm gonna let y'all just watch that whole deal now. This is what we were talking about. So we're gonna try each one of these for 50,000, and then the rest for 100.
Good, it's kind of sweet.
Ooh, it's very hot. That was definitely my fault. Good. This is ginger tea.
That mangosteen is good.
This is ginger tea. That's really good too. Lemongrass tea. This is the pusti. Mangosteen. Ooh, I could drink a gallon of that.
I know, isn't that good?
That is really good. That is really good. This is the lemongrass. really good too. Red rice tea. What is this? Kima? Okay. And this is the red rice tea. Wow.
That's good.
This is coconut coffee. Coconut coffee. That's really good too. Oh, I like all that. The mocha. Mocha coffee. Wow. Tastes like Starbucks.
This is new product called Pandan Tea from the Pandan Book.
Okay. This is that.
No, this is new.
This is new.
What leaf is it from again? Pandan? Pandan is a long
And yes, okay. This is Panya.
This is your product too. That we call avocado coffee.
Another new product.
Strawberry coffee.
Tastes like banana. Tastes like it has banana. It's really good. And this is Bali coffee. Okay.
Cacao without sugar.
Sure. Cocoa with no sugar? Cocoa, no sugar. It tastes really good. This is probably my favorite right here. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Coffee still can white absolute.
Okay. I still like, this is my favorite right here. That's all banana. That's so good. Tops.
I really like the ginger and the mango tea.
Yeah.
I like all the teas.
All the teas were really good. We love this one. This one's our favorite. And then the ginger tea. And then red rice tea.
The saffron.
The saffron tea.
Even the lemongrass.
The lemongrass was really good
All
too.
of the teas are very good.
Yes, all the teas are just amazing. Got a really sweetness to them. And then most of the coffee, it tastes like Starbucks.
You like the sweet
I like the sweet coffee. I'm not a bitter coffee person. So, and we're about to try this coffee. The what?
the luwak.
The Luwak. This is coffee Luwak. This is the one that everybody's really nervous about. This is the poop coffee. You can try it first.
I think it's good.
Is it good?
Yeah, but I drink black coffee, so.
Very true.
I
You
like
drink black coffee. Here, I'm gonna try it now. I do not drink black coffee, so.
It's hot.
Kind of reminds me of like just like a really dark roasted coffee. It's really good, actually.
Yeah, it's tasty.
I could drink this without sugar. It's really good. Okay, so after we got done eating or not eating, we got done drinking all the different teas and coffees that they had. We bought some. I don't know if we're going to be able to bring it back to the United States. I'm a little bit iffy on the whole bringing in other goods from other countries and things like that. So we might not be able to bring some back. We might be able to. It depends on how risky I'm feeling whenever we get done with this honeymoon. But anyways, after that, after we left the coffee plantation, he actually took us to a local market, but I didn't film anything in the local market because I left the GoPro in the car and I think it was dead and I hadn't changed the battery out yet. So we went to a local market, and the local market, it was very different. Like, it smelled trashy. Like, it was like, there was part of it that was like really trashy. Like, there was trash everywhere and it smelled like sewer. And then as you walk through and you got kind of deeper into the market, like you caught the smell of something that just smelled amazing. It was like cooking like barbecue and like onions and like just all the spices and aromas that were in the air. It was just an amazing smell. And we even found grits, which they call it corn rice here, but it's literally just ground up corn, which is basically grits. And our tour guide actually bought him 2 bags, and he said he was going to go home and try it. So, also, if you're looking for a tour guide, I booked all of mine through Travelocity, and just make sure you get the tours in English, and it really helped us out a lot, especially on this trip where a lot of people don't speak English here at all. And, well, they speak a little bit of English. They don't speak a whole lot. And sometimes it's really hard to understand, but you can make it through. So after that, we headed up into the mountains of Bali. Now, whenever we got to the mountains of Bali, pretty much the landscape is very hilly. The roads are insane. There are no street signs, no speed limit signs. Really, you have you have 2 lanes, but nobody really uses the lanes. It's just kind of get in where you fit in, and you don't ever use your brake. You use your horn and blinker to let people know that you're coming around a corner or that you're going to pass them. And that was pretty much the whole traffic deal everywhere. And traffic was so bad when we were coming back from the mountains. But before we get to that, we started going up through the mountains. I can't remember what the statue was called or anything like that, but it was a beautiful statue. It's white. It's about this beast, the monkeys battling this beast.
So we went to the botanical gardens.
The botanical garden, that was it, okay.
And that was one of the statues, which apparently the guy was fighting all of these monkeys, but really the monkeys were the good guys because this guy's brother apparently stole somebody's wife or something like that. But anyway, so we got to see all of the local plants and trees, and they had a cactus house, and they had an orchid area too.
Mm-hmm. The orchids really wasn't in bloom, which was that kind of sucked, but it wasn't bad. I mean, it was still very beautiful and things like that.
really big lake, and that's where we had our lunch. Our lunch was included in the price of the tour. And so we ate our lunch. We both got grilled fish, and after lunch we went on, it's not exactly a catamaran, but it's just this little boat.
It's this little boat with like, it's kind of like a canoe with catamarans out to each side of it, and the catamarans were made out of PVC pipe, and they were literally just tied to wood. It was very sketchy. But y'all are probably seeing that, and like, it was crazy. Like, I was really scared one of those pipes were just gonna fall straight off the side. But we made it to the other side of the lake, which is where the water temples were. The I can't remember the name of them. It's like the Bedugul or
I don't know how you pronounce
we
it.
We can't pronounce it.
Weston can probably put it on the screen.
I can probably put it on the screen, but probably not gonna happen. It might happen. Okay, Chelsea wants it on the screen. I'm putting it on the screen.
So we got there, and one of the coolest things about that temple was it's a Hindu temple, but they did have one small shrine, I guess, as a nod to Buddhism, and right across you could see the Muslim mosque. So it was interesting how you could see representation of 3 different religions in one place.
Yeah. So we got done with that, and I think that was really the whole day and tour and all that kind of stuff. I'm hopefully, I think that was it really. Was that it?
That was it. Then we got in the car, and it took us about 2 hours to get back to the resort.
Yeah, it took us 2 hours to get back to the resort in the most insane traffic ever. I couldn't drive in Bali to save my life. Like, it's like, if you ride dirt bikes or anything like that, it's like the world's worst hair scrambler ever. It is terrible. But other than that, that was our day 2. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and we will see y'all on probably day 3, which I think we're going to be doing some shopping and just kind of doing some haggling around town. We might go to Ubud, and I know we're going to go to the Kuta Mall, the Kuta Beach Mall down here, down the street, and then I'm going to go to the tackle shop. So y'all be looking for that in Bali video day 3. Thank y'all for watching.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.